Hi, I'm Renee Richel, the founder and president of One True Match. I'm here to help you find and cultivate the love of your life. For over a decade, I've dedicated my life to the importance, purpose, and dynamic of human relationships. My team and I are disciplined by faith, love, and integrity to help our clients find the quality relationship they've always dreamt of. Each week, I will be sharing the tools and tips I've learned that have rooted my success as a matchmaker with other leaders around the world. Hello, loves. Welcome back. I am so excited to be here with Connie talking about all of our favorite topics. Today, we are going to talk about, are you treating your life with love? Yeah. Which is such a great subject. I feel like I love it when these topics come in because we can talk about all the things that I feel like we're talking about on a daily.
Absolutely. It's good to be back as per usual. I feel like I say that all the time, but I guess I'm coming back every episode.
Cheers! We were talking about our cultural differences, right? We gotta always cheers to every moment that we can get, whether it be coffee or whatever your favorite beverage choice is, right?
Exactly. Or when you're listening to this, just think of us when you're sipping on whatever it may be.
Yes, like get back in your chair, relax, chill, and we are gonna talk about this topic.
Yeah.
So,
falling in love with your life, you know? And I mean, we say that as we're talking about sitting and having our favorite drink, right? Tea, coffee, whatever it might be. Like, look after your body. Like, don't drink 10 coffees a day. That's not healthy. Like,
so important.
We're not here to preach about being healthy or not. That's not what we're trying to do. But also, if you're not treating your body, yourself, like with love, then you're not going to give that to others.
Right. And so it's so important, like we always say, I feel like over and over again, is that you obviously give your best version of yourself out there. And so it's so important that if you're not in love, I say this all the time, you got to be financially sexy. You've got to be just physically attracted to yourself. That if you're not treating your life with love, how are you going to attract who you're looking for?
Yeah, and it sounds silly, but it's like, even if you don't love your clothes in your closet and you put it on yourself and you're like, ugh, I don't look good. Or, I mean, females, we're all pros at doing this, I feel like, of putting something on like, oh, we don't look good. Oh, I don't like this. You know, like when you think about that, like more deeper, if you're going then out on a date on a dress that you hate, you don't love, you're probably not going to love the date. And that may seem a little extreme, but it truly isn't. Like, if you don't feel good and love what you're looking like, you're not going to go out there feeling great. Like,
confidence.
Yeah, confidence.
King, right?
Yeah. And we always say this, like, you want to wear a tight dress, great, go for it. But then also when you wear a tight dress, you're uncomfortable. So you go out on a date and you're more concerned about what your dress looks like than the date. Like, it really just comes to key with loving and what you're wearing to go out and loving of what you...
Well, I think it's like, I mean, it starts obviously with self-love. You have to love yourself to be happy, right? So like so many times people come to us or they say, oh, you know, I need to lose a little bit of weight, or I'm not at my prime, or I'm not on my top game. And we're like, okay, that's great. When you are, let us know, because part of being ready and truly being in the right relationship is being your best version of yourself. So, you know, if you're surrounding yourself with people that aren't bringing the best version of you and they're starting to drain you or suck the life out of you, it's literally like a new year, right? This is the time to cut the losses of the people that don't inspire you to be a better version, because there's so many unhappy people out there, and it's really, really sad. And really, truly, you are your own destiny of who you're going to become. God perfectly designed you the way that He has designed you. And so if you're going to let the rest of the world like suck that out of you or deflate your bubble in that sense of like becoming somebody else that somebody's created you to be, you're going to lose your identity. Yeah. And that's not what God's designed you to be. And so there's so many times that we'll talk to our clients and, you know, maybe they're like, why does it take so much longer? I feel like I'm completely ready, or a match or something like that. And we're like, timing is everything. If God knows that you've not done everything to prepare yourself to be the best version of yourself, that person is not going to come in your life. Why? Because God is in control in our belief, obviously, of who's perfectly knitted for us to be in a relationship. And we all know there's seasons. I was just talking to, you know, one of our board members the other day about this, is that, you know, that some people come into our lives for a short season, some people in our lives forever. And you have to really look at dating that way. And, you know, because so many times people will fall in love with somebody and be madly in love and their hearts are broken But that relationship was supposed to end for the reason of whatever is ahead and whatever you were supposed to learn from so that you can get back on track to being your best version of yourself.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree more. Like so many, I see on social media, I mean, we see it every day, people coming to us and they're like, I had a really, really rough 2022. Like my heart got broken, I kind of fell out of love with myself, like da-di-da-di-da. And the first thing we're going to say is like, okay, so let's before you can either be our client, it sounds terrible, before we can either work for you, or even just people in our database. We love people that are truly healthy and in love with their life before coming to us, you know? Like there's nothing, you're not, like I said, you're really attracting what you're giving out there already. So when it comes, go ahead.
Well, and I was going to say, and here's one point that I really hope everybody either writes this down or after this podcast goes back and listens to this is a pet peeve of mine. Your voicemail message. I don't know if anybody's ever thought of this before, but part of self-love is your reflection of what people have on you. Okay. So I can't tell you, I mean, even my girlfriends, I've called up and I'm like, okay, I love you. And I do. But, and I understand you can't answer your call. And half the time, everybody goes to voicemail because unless you're on our calendar, we've got other, we've already got it booked out, right?
Yeah.
So people get your voicemail. But if your voicemail is monotone, boring, rude, short, not engaging or exciting, how do you think somebody feels on the other end? So one thing I literally gave to one of our clients this week that's a little bit more monotone, he's a little bit more introverted and whatnot. I said, why don't you try to have the next call with smiling the whole time? Now, I don't want you to sound sarcastic, but it's totally a different conversation. Like even Connie and I right now, as we're talking, we're smiling at each other. Why? Because we're excited, to see each other's faces, to be here right now doing this, speaking to you, and then to like just really connect. It's a way to show passion. And so if you think about it, go back and listen to your voicemail that you may have recorded 20 years ago or 10 years ago, however long you've been with your carrier or service or whatever. But the point is, if you're not engaging in even just the simplest thing of a voicemail message that people are hearing on a regular, sometimes daily, or if you're somebody that doesn't even have a message, or some people have, nowadays the thing is, don't leave me a message, text me, right?
Yeah.
But you can even say that in an engaging, nice way.
Yeah, if you put a little bit of higher pitch to your tone, that's it. It makes it immediately seem friendlier.
Right, because again, it's going back to like, loving yourself to then love others. And if you aren't somebody that sounds like you're loving yourself, even on a voicemail, that you're excited that they called and they can't wait to talk to you, I mean, it's a game changer, just saying.
I mean, yes, I know that is Renee's pet peeve. I knew that, but it really is the smallest thing. I mean, if you talk to someone in customer service, right? I mean, we all have to in some shape or form, and I'm like, gee, they don't like their life. Like, they seem really
miserable. They need a hug.
Yeah.
They need a hug. They need a hug emoji.
Yeah, they need a hug emoji. See, if you listen to our last podcast, you know what we meant. But it really is small things like that. Or like we're talking about going into the new year, like. This even comes in relationships as well. So I know this kind of focused more on our singles here, but I mean, we're in the love industry for something.
We are. Once they're single and they're matched, they're then coupled and married and happy.
And you still have to put that work into yourself.
You do.
Going into the new year, people will say, oh, me and my partner, me and my husband, da-di-da-di-da, we have this goal, to travel here, to do this. Well, why don't we tone it down and think, okay, like, how do we fall in love with our own life? Like, yes, we may love our life with our husband or our wife or whoever you are married to, and or in a relationship too, I guess. I'm not rolling them out. But also...
We have a lot of married couples. Our couples we've matched and just other people that have now engaged in this. We have a little bit of both, which is so exciting.
Exactly. But also then put those resolutions, goals, whatever you want to call them, on yourself too. So I know that I personally have goals for just me, and then goals within my marriage. Like, you still need to be really realistic of carrying on loving your single life as well as your married life. And not single, but singular as a person.
I love that you brought that up, because I mean, my course that I preach and teach and literally live out every day is like, love starts with you, which is really what we're talking about here. And the truth is, so many people, they don't discover who they are and they wait then to be in that relationship. It's too late. those relationships then go sour. The whole reason somebody became attracted to you is because of who you are. So have a life before you begin, but it's so important that you don't lose who you are in that journey.
Because it's very easy to do.
It's so easy to get comfortable. It's so easy to be like, I want to, you know, put on my yoga pants, or I want to do this, and I want to, like, you lose that zest of spice and excitement and like that desire to have that, you know, just sex drive. I mean, here, we're talking at the end of the day of two people that obviously intentionally date to get married and then are married. And the reality of it is your marriage should not end.
Yeah.
It should only be growing and blossoming when you find that person. And if you're not putting in that energy and putting in that same desire of what they were attracted to in the beginning continuously for the rest of your life with your mate, your marriage will go stale.
Yeah, and I mean, I was just speaking about this to a dear friend of mine. She's like, we're just growing in the wrong direction. She's putting all of this self-work into herself and their relationship. They're good at putting work into their relationship together. But if you're not putting yourself individually, and women tend to be almost a little better at this, that they'll be like, okay, I should, you know, they kind of catch themselves a little bit more doing it. Like, oh, okay, I'll read a book now to, you know, focus myself back into a relationship, how to be the best version of me. But sometimes, like, with a lot of men, they'll be like, I don't know what happened. She went and, you know, got her new job. She just kept growing, was going out with her friends. And then men are like, oh, I'm still here in my flip-flop shorts and going, you know, like, you know, so it's like small things like that. You need to remind yourself just to continue putting that work in. Whether it's this sounds so ridiculous as well, but these are almost what podcasts are for.
Right?
It's like,
we talk about everything.
It's
good, bad, and ugly.
Yeah, take yourself on a walk or work out or whatever it may be on your own. Like, yes, I do think it's really
have
great.
that self-reflection time.
Yes, I think it's great that people work out together with their partner or da-da-da. But you cannot spend 24/7 with your partner. I know that might seem comfortable and might seem great. Do not do it.
Well, I mean, absent makes the heart grow fonder for a reason, right?
Exactly.
We have to miss our mate in order to want our mate more.
Yeah, and also I think this is something that a lot of people lack is going out with friends. You still need to go out with your friends. So that gives you the time to grow and that recharge yourself to then go be that better version of you for your partner.
Absolutely. It's so true. And I was thinking, even as you were saying that, like, it's so important that, I mean, I can't keep saying this enough, that you know who you are. And don't just think you know who you are when you were young or in your 20s or in your 30s. You know, I mean, the reality of it is you're forever changing. And so should you. And I think it's really important. I mean, we ask this question, of course, when we're interviewing, and I really don't think about it that people should ask while they're actually out there dating, because obviously not everybody is using a matchmaker, and so they're not getting those questions. But, like, more often than not, we'll always ask people, so, like, what is your life purpose? Have you figured that out yet? And so many times people freeze up. They're like, that's the most difficult question out of all the I mean, we've talked about their whole childhood, we've talked about their whole nitty gritty, like their dirty, good and bad of their like relationship history. We have like talked about everything. When you get to that question, it's always like, so what is your passion? What is your purpose? What do you wake up every day driven? And it can't be just your children. Children are a gift from God.
And let me tell you, your
don't
children
hide
are
behind your children, right? Your children will grow up and
they have their own family.
Fly their wings and they'll fall madly in love with somebody else. So your children shouldn't be your identity. They're just a bonus to like the beauty of your life and what you're doing, and you'll reap the rewards if you know being a good parent and you raise them right, obviously. But where I'm going with that is I think it's really important we ask also. The other question we ask is not only purpose, but we say, what are your goals 3 to 5 years from now? We do this in our career, right? We do this in, I mean, obviously as an entrepreneur, I'm constantly end of year, next year, what are the next, like all these things. But I think it's really important that couples sit down, or even when you're starting to date, is ask somebody that question. Like, what is your passion? What's your testimony? What are you living for? What are you doing? What is your 3 to 5 year goal? Not like all in one question. That'd be like, wow, okay, like chill, like take a, you know, like let's actually have fun. But it is important that people think about those things, because people should have a vision, even if it doesn't come exactly true.
And that's what
the reality of it is like you need to have goals.
Yeah, and that's what we mean by loving your life, right? Just like I mean, I've heard this on many interviews. I mean, we speak to different people all day, every day, so we kind of get the variety. But I will say, oh, what's your goals? And they'll say, oh, I don't know. I mean, let's just say, oh gosh, own a penthouse in New York, but they're like, that's probably not going to happen. I'm like, oh, well guess what? It's really not going to happen because you're saying it. So when we say like fall in love with your life, like even though it might be a far stretch goal, or it might be something that doesn't seem exactly reachable is the word I'm going
for.
Yeah, right now, like if you're truly in love with your life, you have that self-confidence that you're going to get to that goal one day.
And you have to have like, I never would have imagined in a million years would be where we're sitting today, matching hundreds and hundreds of people and watching them flourish and fall in love. At the end of the day, it goes back to my simple vision or dream of, I'm like, I love people. I love people to feel love. So I want the world to feel loved with the right person, right? Yeah. So like that just was a passion, that was a purpose, that was a burning desire inside of me that I was like, okay, I don't know what that means, but I'm going to pray about it. I'm going to pray every day about that and see where it comes and look at that. Like God has blessed my life, our lives, everybody's to be able to like blossom from that. Yeah. So the point is, as silly as it might sound, really figure out, you know, what your talents are, what you're passionate about. I think we talked about this in one of the other podcasts, because that is what like literally fuels you inside and out. That's how you attract the type of people that you really want, because it's burning inside of you to obviously share that.
Yeah, and I think that so many people are just out of touch with that. So we're just here to remind you simply, like, sit down, take some more time for yourself. Like, even if, I mean, this is to all the mums who are probably maybe listening to this, and maybe you're single and you're like, but I do not have that time. Invest into a sitter. Like, I know it might seem, oh, that seems like a far stretch right now. Like, invest into someone to babysit your children, even if it's for an hour, maybe once a week, and then of course that can grow if needs be. But invest into yourself, and whatever it may be, whether it's going to the grocery store, like, I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but put a podcast in, and or, you know, do something that does good for you. Like, it sounds so silly to say it, but so many people lack it.
Which is so true. And on that note, actually, I love that you're speaking on the single parenthood phase, because I remember being there, obviously, and going through those steps. And it's like, you're just working so hard to just keep everything afloat. And the reality of it is, like you said, either take that moment aside, or also, I mean, the flip side of it is like when you have a nanny, you have somebody that like to be able to function all the details and be able to still live a life. I mean, I'll never forget one time Connie was like, I need you to take the day off and just go be with Olivia. Yeah. And, you know, and that was something that actually just, it fueled my heart to just have that precious time that we never think to do, especially when it comes to children. Because, I mean, let's be honest, there is a lot of work. They're not just the beautiful fairy tale photos that we all see, like the perfect photos. Look how happy everybody is. Connie's been on some of these shoots even that I've done with my daughter before. It's a hot mess. It's miserable. I mean, we're trying to find goldfish. We're trying to do everything to get that smile. And it literally, I'm glad we got one. Yeah. Maybe one. That's all we need. One, right? One. But like, the point is don't put so much pressure on yourself that everything has to be so perfect or so beautiful, because we all have, even the most, and we know this, right? But like sometimes we get so caught up in those little big things that we're like, we have to do this, we have to do this, people see us as this, and da-da-da, and it's like, it's okay to break down, it's okay to, like, there are moments nobody ever sees it, I just cry, you know, I let it out, and then I'm like, okay, now we're gonna move on, right? Like, on to the next plan. And I think, you know, the one thing that we often always forget when it comes to, like, you know, loving ourselves and stuff like that is, you know, I love that, like, Steve Harvey always says this, you know, as a just a huge inspirational person and his life that he's walked through, and so many times of just even just strong Christians just like ourselves, is to spend that time prayerfully praying. Mm-hmm. You know, ask God, talk to him, tell him what your burning desires are. When people tell you it's silly and it's stupid, or no one's going to ever believe you. I mean, I was, like I said, once they're on the ground zero building this up, do you know how many people's voices were in my head to say, you should do it this way, you should do that way, you can't do this, you can't do this. And the reality of it is, if people or friends around you are tearing what your goals are for a relationship and say, you'll never get that, you'll never be able to do this, I am here to tell you that if you believe it and you pray for it, it's amazing the power of God and what he'll do, because he ultimately already knows your plan for you.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I think that, you know, kind of bringing it back down on the same level is that, okay, yeah, we do want to fall madly in love with our life, but falling madly in love with your life doesn't have to look the same to everyone else. As long as you're happy,
Right.
and it isn't always sunshine and rainbows. I think we all know that. I mean, we talk about that all the time, just like dating, anything. It's never perfect, but as long as you're in love with your own life, that's all it needs to be.
Yeah, and I think that it's so important that you don't, like you just said, don't hold yourself back because you feel like other people can do something bigger and better, which is all about social media and everything else. So know your own power inside of you and be beautiful and fly your wings. So
And invest in you.
Yes, amen. I love it. Well, we are going to have to run, but we appreciate all these topics and questions and things that are written in so we can continue to fuel your hearts and our love, that we get to break away a little bit from an interview and moments to spend with you. So we hope you have a great one and a blessed day.
Yeah, and take some time after this to write down things that make you a better version of you.
I love it.
Bye.
Bye. It's been another great talk on this episode of One True Talks by Renee and Richel. I look forward to our next chat. Please write in your questions and comments so I can be sure to talk about whatever it is you want to discuss in our next upcoming episode. Lots of love. God bless. XOXO.